The Osborne Lift the Flat Questions and Answers book, read by Books for Kids by Flying Dragons. When were castles first built? The first ones were built over 1,000 years ago. They were made of wood. The first stone castles were built around 900 years ago. When do birds learn to fly? When their wing muscles are strong enough. Bluebirds start to learn at 3 weeks old. Parrots wait until they're 10 weeks old. When were trains invented? Around 200 years ago, before the first bicycles, cars, and planes. When will I stop growing? Normally by the age of 18 if you're a girl, and a few years later if you're a boy. You usually end up around twice the height you were when you were 2. When do sheep have babies? In the spring, when it's warm and there's plenty of grass for the lambs to eat. Why do bees like flowers? Because that's where they find their food. Bees eat nectar and pollen. They suck nectar straight from the flower and carry pollen away on their legs. The buff-tailed bumblebee likes purple flowers best. Why do tigers have stripes? So they can hide in the striped grassland shadows. They lie in wait for tasty animals to come near them. Then they pounce on them. Why do I have to go to sleep? I'm not tired. To rest your body and let it get ready for the next day. Sleep gives your brain time to sort through what's going on in your life. Why do people build castles? Because in castle times there were lots of battles. Castles had thick walls and ditches to protect people from their enemies. Why does the moon change shape? Crescent moon, half moon, full moon. It doesn't really. The moon is always round, but we only see the part that's facing us and is lit up by the sun. As the moon moves around our planet, Earth, more of the part we see is lit up. A half moon is when half our side is lit up and half is in shadow. Why do planes have wings? So they can take off and fly. As air moves around the wings, it helps to lift the plane off the ground. Why do camels have humps? To store fat. The fat gives camels energy to survive when there's no food or water in the desert. A one-humped camel is called a dromedary. Why is the sea wavy? Because the wind makes the water move up and down. The waves get really big when it's windy. Why do we have eyebrows? To stop sweat from dripping into our eyes and to help our faces make expressions. My grandpa's are really bushy and my auntie plucks hers. How many stars are there? Billions and billions, far more than anyone could ever count. The ones we can see on a clear night are just a tiny sprinkling of what's out there. You can see even more when you look through a telescope. How can a boat float? Because its weight is spread out across the water. The boat's shape pushes water out to the sides without it coming over the top. How deep is the sea? At the seaside, the sea can be really shallow, but at its deepest point in the Pacific Ocean, the sea is almost 11 kilometers or 7 miles deep. Some weird and wonderful creatures live down there. How does a plant grow? It starts as a tiny seed in the earth. First a little seedling appears. With water and sun, it grows and grows. Seed, seedling, plant. Some bamboo plants can grow as tall as you in just one day. How do elephants drink water? They suck it up through their trunks, then squirt it into their mouths. How long does it take to fly to the moon? 3 days, so long as you have a good spacecraft. Zoom, zoom. How do people balance on bicycles? By moving forward. Wheels stay upright when they are spinning. If the wheels stop spinning, you'll fall off. How does a caterpillar turn into a butterfly? First, it eats and eats. It makes a hard case around its body, and inside an amazing change takes place. The caterpillar's body breaks down and builds itself up again as a butterfly. How do fish breathe? Using their gills. We all need something called oxygen to live. Our lungs take oxygen from the air we breathe. Fish have gills that take oxygen from the water. Water goes in the mouth and out over the gills. Gills are under here. How many hairs are there on my head? Roughly 100,000. Redheads have the fewest hairs. Blondes have the most. Where do rivers begin? On hills or mountains. They start as little streams of rainwater or melted snow. The streams join up to make a river. Rivers always flow downhill. Where do stars go in the morning? Nowhere. They're still there. It's just the bright light from the sun that stops us from seeing them. Where do penguins lay their eggs? Usually in nests or burrows near the sea. But emperor penguins lay their eggs in an icy desert. The father balances the egg on his feet under his warm tummy muscles until it hatches. Chin-strap penguins have a rock nest. Where is the North Pole? In the ice-covered Arctic Ocean at the most northern point of our planet. There isn't a pole there. The pole is one end of an imaginary line that our planet slowly spins around. At the North Pole, the sun only rises and sets once a year. Where does my recycling go? Usually it's sorted out into plastic, glass, metal, and paper. Then the different materials go to recycling factories where they're used again to make new things. Where do birds sleep? Some perch on branches.
I already did it.
Others hide on
I did it.
Where does cheese come from? Cows, sheep, and goats. Cheese is made from their milk. Where does my food go? On a journey through your body. Your body takes the stuff it needs. Leftovers come out when you go to the toilet. Where do rivers end? Rivers end where they meet another bigger river or a lake or the sea. Where did all the dinosaurs go? They died out after a big rock from space hit the earth. You can still find their remains today, buried in the ground. No one knows what dinosaur skin really looks like. It could have been plain, striped, or spotted. Who built the pyramids? The ancient Egyptians, thousands of years ago. Who invented electricity? Nobody. Electricity has always existed. Lightning is electricity, for example, but it took hundreds of years and lots of clever people to discover how we can use electricity. He must have been a bright spark. Who were the first people to fly? Two Frenchmen, Platre de Rosier and Marquis d'Alens. They flew 9 kilometers or 5.5 miles in a hot air balloon in 1783. The King of France was watching. Who is the fastest person in the world? The person who can run 100 meters in the quickest time. At the moment it's Usain Bolt. He ran 100 meters in just 9.58 seconds. Who sailed around the world first? Captain Magellan's crew from Portugal in 1522. It took them 3 years and Magellan died along the way. Who were the Romans? A powerful group of people who lived around 2,000 years ago. They came from a city called Rome in Italy, and their army conquered many countries. We invented concrete and underfloor heating. Who lives here? Lots of little insects called termites. Who was the first person in space? Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. In 1961, he circled the Earth once in his Vostok 1 spacecraft. 4 years earlier, Laika the dog was the first animal in space. Who was Tutankhamun? A pharaoh, a king of Egypt thousands of years ago. His tomb was discovered 100 years ago, filled with fabulous treasure. Who made the first chocolate bar? Francis Fry. Fry used cocoa butter to harden chocolate. Before then, people only drank chocolate. What's the fastest animal on land? The cheetah. It can reach speeds of around 105 kilometers or 65 miles per hour. But I'm a swift and I can fly even faster than you can run. What are germs? There are millions of germs in each sneeze. Germs are tiny living things. They can make you ill if they get into your body. What's snow made of? Ice crystals that clutter together to make snowflakes. Each snowflake has its own pattern. What's under the street? Water pipes, sewerage pipes, electricity cables, treasure, animals, all sorts of things. What's the difference between a crocodile and an alligator? Alligators have rounded snouts and top jaws are wider than their bottom jaws, and no lower teeth visible. Crocodiles tend to have longer, pointier snouts, and both jaws are the same size, with big visible lower teeth. What's a rainbow? Pretty bands of light. Rainbows happen when the sun shines through raindrops in the sky.
Mommy?
The outer bands are always red and violet. What's sand made of? Rocks and shells. Over thousands of years, water and the wind knocks rocks against each other. They break up into smaller pieces and smaller pieces. What's this? An iceberg. Only the tip shows above the water. The rest hides below. What makes a car go? Its engine, which makes the wheels go round. Engines get their power from fuel or batteries. What's the largest animal on Earth? The blue whale. It can grow longer than 5 elephants. That's 30 meters or 100 feet. It's bigger than the biggest dinosaur and it's still alive today. Which way is left? This way. Hold your hands up, palms forward, with your thumbs and first fingers sticking out. The hand with the L shape is your left hand. Which animals make the loudest noise? The loudest animal on land is the howler monkey, but the big blue whale makes the loudest noise of all. Which of these can't fly? The ostrich. It uses its wings to balance and it can run as fast as most birds fly. Which is the biggest muscle in your body? Your gluteus maximus, your bottom. Which of these grows under the ground? Apples grow on trees, peas grow in pods, strawberries grow on plants, and carrots grow underground. Look back through the book and see if you can find the answers to these questions. What's a dromedary? A one-humped camel. How big is a blue whale? 30 meters. Where do emperor penguins keep their eggs? On top of their feet, beneath their tummy muscles. Why would you use a telescope? To see the stars.
Mommy.
When was the first castle built? Around 1,000 years ago, wooden castles were built. 900 years ago, stone castles were built. Who invented concrete? Romans. Which way is right? It's over to the right, away from your left. Who wrote this book? Katie Danes. Who designed it? Susie Harrison. Who illustrated it? Marie-Eve Tremblay. If you enjoyed this book, please do hit subscribe. We've got lots more books that we'd love to share with you.